as well. Plus, for Scott or anybody driving off-road, those irregularities in the road constantly are going to wear those bushings all the more faster. Now, if you have a mysterious noise emanating from your vehicle like Scott did, call us and we'll investigate it together. Our toll-free number is 866-TALK-TO-DIY.
More of your detailing questions are on the way next. First, though, test your automotive knowledge with this Talk to DIY quick quiz.
Welcome to another DIY kit. All the information you need to get the most value for your time, effort, and money. For more helpful advice, go to DIYnetwork.com and click on DIY Kits. Today's kit will show you how to improve your home's curb appeal, and it's brought to you exclusively by Freemake. There's a lot more to selling your house than simply putting up a for sale sign. A few small steps to enhance your home's curb appeal can reap big dividends. Begin by taking a look at your house, literally. Go across the street and imagine you're seeing it for the very first time. Make a list of the negatives. Is the yard overgrown and unkept? Are the gutters in bad shape? Does the house need a new paint job? You may have lived with these things so long you don't even notice them anymore. Let's start with the yard. Prune trees and shrubs so they look neat. Place fresh mulch around plants and walkways. Keep your yard mowed and the leaves raked. Most importantly, add color. Flowers and greenery do wonders to cast your home in a new light. Now examine the exterior. You can probably make your home look a lot better by pressure washing it to remove dirt, mold, and mildew. Give the shutters and trim a fresh coat of paint and fix everything that's broken. Clean out your garage and make sure patio furniture and playground equipment is in good shape. Inside, keep everything neat and clean. Wash your windows and dust the furniture. Pick up any laundry or loose items laying around. If you have children or pets, let them play at a friend's house when prospective buyers are coming around. Show off your home by letting the light in and using potpourri and air freshener to create a pleasant smell. Now that your part is complete, let your realtor do the work of selling this home with fantastic curb appeal. Log on to DIYnetwork.com for more on today's topic. You'll also find helpful advice, valuable tips, and everything you need to research this and many other projects. Today's kit has been brought to you by Freemake. Outstanding agents, outstanding results.
Don't be scared, son.
Ed! It's me! That house in the city just passed inspection, so you could close next week.
Wow.
I wanted to tell you in person.
Nobody works harder for you than Freemake. That's why nobody in the world sells more real estate.
You know, my first car was a Camaro. I missed the car. Too bad I didn't have it. It'd be worth something now, that's for sure.
They're good investments, those older vehicles like that. But, you know, I was distracted by seeing the different options there. You know, Camera, could a car be named that? I don't think so.
No.
You know, Comrade sounds better, or Condor was one of the other ones. Drive your Condor. All right.
All right, welcome back to Talk to DIY. I'm Lauren Fix along with Steve Ford.
And we're talking detailing on today's show, helping you keep your second largest purchase in tip-top shape.
Greg from Bakersfield, California could definitely use our help. He sent us this email. I have latex overspray on my car. I removed most of it, but how do I get it off the rubber and plastic pieces? The wiper blades, luggage racks, and side mirrors, etc. are all still affected. Is there anything that won't damage the parts?
All right, let's find out, Greg. We've got an expert on this specific area with us, Jeff Jefferson from Classy Cars. And Jeff, we've got a number of products in front of us here. Let's talk about what the products are and what steps we should go with for Greg.
Great. What I'd first do is for his plastic and the plastic lenses that he was talking about and the rubber, you can always try the denatured alcohol. on
Okay.
the rubber. It'll work really good on the rubber. Try an inconspicuous area.
All right, let's try that briefly here. Lead me through it. Continue on, and I'll just follow what you're saying. I've got the lens in my hand here. When you say inconspicuous area, I'm thinking, where would you go with that?
Well, if
Maybe the
there's
edge
like
of
the
the
top
lens?
part of that lens, or the
Okay.
top part of that rubber where it may sit inside the body and you don't see it as much,
Oh, I
try
see.
rubbing it.
Okay.
It'll take a little bit of rubbing to soften it, and then you just take a dry towel and wipe it, and it should start to take most of that off for you.
Okay, it's doing it.
There
All right, so
you go.
denatured alcohol. Now, that's not going to harm the lens?
No, then what you do is wipe that off, and then you can take a wax or a plastic polish and re-go over those areas so that it doesn't dry out, and it brings more of the shine back.
Does a car wax work, like a carnauba wax? Is that what you're saying? Like any?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can use that, or they have specific plastic polishes also for plastics.
All right.
Once you do it on a rubber, I always recommend take a rubber treatment or a tire dressing of some kind and go back over those areas again.
Okay. We got the lens covered, Jeff. Thank you. Okay, and you're saying some kind of a rubber treatment that would be good for tires would be good for the rubber around this lens.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about that aggravating consideration of, those cheap body paint jobs you can go and get, and they don't tell you about the overspray. It's like, great price, but small print says, sorry if we overspray your tires and your windshield.
They neglect to tell you they paint all the other parts too
Right,
besides
no
the
extra
paint on
charge.
the car.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do I do about it? What do we tell people?
What I do is we use the clay bar in our shop, and it works really good. It's a safe product. Use your spray that you have. We always use a lubricant instead of just using water.
All right, I'll do that. I'll continue here with it. When you say the lubricant, you want to spray the area?
Yeah, spray the
Okay.
paint area, maybe 6 by 6 or 12 by 12, depending what you feel comfortable with.
Okay. And is
Put
the
the
lube
clay
is
bar on.
pardon me, Jeff, is water a good lubricant, or do you have to buy a special product like this one?
Yeah, use a special product because it does have a wax in it, and it allows the product to not stick to the surface of the paint.
All right, we've got about 30 seconds here. I'm going to do a real quick move. I'm going to clean it up. Okay, this is already removing it. I'm struck by the fact that the clay feels so soft, yet it's actually removing this material. Is it like sandpaper then, some way?
No, it's like the old way of a silly putty. It's real sticky, and what it does is the contaminants stick to the clay, and the clay pulls it right off the surface of the paint.
Fantastic.
Just like you see.
All right. And this clay can be purchased at auto parts stores.
Yes, if you don't drop it, you can use it again.
All right.
Spray a little bit of that lubricant into a baggie, zip it back up, and save the clay for next time.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Jeff Jeppesen from Classy Cars. Good information from you. And Greg, thank you for your question. Lauren, what do we have in the email bag or phone call? What's up next?
We have so many questions, but next we have a voicemail from Jamie in Sturgis, South Dakota.
I have a 69 Ford Econoline, and I am currently working on the engine, and I need to figure out why it isn't starting. I believe it's not getting any fuel, and I need to know how to check the fuel pump to see if the fuel pump is working and how to install a fuel pump.
Okay, Jamie. First off, let's talk about what a mechanical fuel pump is. A lot of the newer vehicles have electric fuel pumps. This is a little bit different. This is mounted on the side of your engine, where an electric fuel pump is in your tank. So this is something we're going to look at, sort of describe it. How does this thing work? This is what an assembly would look like, depending upon whether you have a Ford or a Chevy or whatever it might be, import, domestic. The mechanical fuel pump works off the camshaft. So, and this is from a Chevy, it would actually have a rod as the camshaft hits this lobe. It would cause this arm to go up and down, pumping fuel. Now, it may not have this. This is just a Chevy application, but on your Ford application, it doesn't. What you do need to know is how it works. This arm moves up and down as the camshaft goes around, and it draws fuel up. This is sort of like a well. If you had an old well in your yard where you used to have to pump the water to get the water up, that's exactly how it works. It draws fuel from the tank, and then from the pump, it goes to the carburetor. Now, what does it look like inside? Let's take a look. Inside is a diaphragm, and this diaphragm can get old, the rubber can get deteriorated, and all that can be part of why it's not working. Now, also inside are two check valves, and those also can fail. And a fuel pump's not that expensive and can be easily replaced. Now, before we go any further, there's some safety things you need to know. You need a fire extinguisher and some safety glasses anytime you're working with fuel. And we're going to give you some quick tests. That's one thing you'll need. You'll also need a gauge for checking your fuel pump pressure. And this one also checks vacuum, but you're looking for the fuel pump pressure on this particular gauge. It's handy to have one that does more than one thing. And we're also going to need a bucket. All right, let's take a look at what we need. For your vehicle, you should have about 5 to 7 pounds of fuel pressure. If you're not getting that, that's part of your problem. All right, let's bring this little container over here because we're going to need it. First thing you're going to do, you're going to remove the line that comes from the fuel tank. Now when you do that, you'll have a bucket here. Of course, you have your safety glasses and all your safety equipment around. And you're going to take it off the one line that comes from the tank because this other line goes up to the carburetor. And once you disconnect it, fuel will go into the container from that fuel line from the tank. Then you'll put your thumb over the top. It's a little DIY trick. Put your thumb over the top that comes from the tank, have someone start the engine. Obviously, it's not going to run very long, or it's just going to try and suck from the vacuum pump, and that suction that you create on your thumb tells you that the pump is working. It's very simple. That's one thing you need to know. Next thing you'll need to do is you're going to want to get that gauge and you're going to want to check the pressure. Now, how do you do that? Again, you're going to want to reattach the lines, try and get that vehicle running because you want to get the air out of that tank line that you just allowed back into the system. And you want to get that fuel pressure gauge disconnected prior to the carburetor, and you're going to want to put that in and again run it and see what kind of fuel pressure you're getting. And then if you want to find out how much you're getting, you should be getting drawing out in a container. If you decide to do this the right way, you'll want to do this not over the carburetor. Of course, you'll want to do this away from the side of the engine over here. You want to see how much fuel you get out. Quantity is also important, about 1 pint for 20 seconds. And you'll have to look at your watch to make sure you get the right amount. That's how you know if you've got a good fuel pump and a mechanical fuel pump. And thanks for your question, Jamie. We appreciate it. Now, if you've got a question, you can go to our website at DIYnet.com. There's also some great automotive tips there.
And speaking of automotive tips, while you're doing this procedure, all that good advice isn't any good if you're going to hurt yourself. So remember, when you're doing a test like this down by the fuel pump, it's a good idea to be sure you're clear of any moving parts. Perhaps also disconnect the ignition and be sure the engine doesn't start. You should still feel vacuum down there. Just be sure you're clear of moving parts and wear safety goggles. Now, a common problem you might deal with out there is a car that doesn't start. When we come back, we'll deal with that with you. Talk to DIY. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
A thermostat opens and closes your engine's cooling system based on coolant temperature.
DIY brings you the show that spawned a generation of renovation, This Old House. See some of the most historic houses in America restored and tour homes you can only dream about. Join hosts Steve Thomas and Norm Abram as we revisit 20 years of America's favorite home improvement show. This Old House Classics. Today at 6:30 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnetwork.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. If you want it and you need it, just ask us and we'll get it.
For the parts and advice to keep your car running right,
AutoZone.
Get up to $5 grand cash back during GM Summer Drive now. Have fun with it.
Success is best measured in the ideals an individual and a company strive to achieve. In addition to becoming a world leader in the manufacture of home improvement and building products, we support and integrate ourselves in the communities in which we operate. This corporate balance, achieved by years of dedication, is key to Masco Corporation's continued growth and our unwavering support of rebuilding communities across America.
Hey, you ready to go to my mom's?
You know what, honey? I gotta paint all this. It's pretty much an all-day job.
Oh, okay. I'll be back later.
Okay.
Say goodbye to all-day jobs with Duck Brand Quick Corners and Perfect Release painting tapes. Just tape on, paint, and pull. Duck Brand painting tapes. Get the duck to do it. Whack.
Hello?
What you doing?
Painting?
for the parts and advice to keep your car running right.
Next time you're in a jam, talk